A pleasant day to all of you. Good morning. Welcome to the program agenda. I'm your host, Cito Beltran, thanking you for joining us this Friday, the 9th of September, 2022. Thank you for being subscribers of Cignal TV and viewers of One News here on channels 8 and 250, as well as those of you who catch us via facebook.com/onenewsph and of course on YouTube. Maraming salamat po. Okay, let's get on with the day for our daily starter. It's a short one, but I think it may apply to a number of you who want to make a decision or are trying to make a decision approaching the weekend. And it goes, be strong enough to let go and patient enough to wait for what you deserve. Whether you need to let go of a bad business deal, a bad project, a bad idea, a bad relationship, or even a bad job, be strong enough to do it, because that's the first major step towards going for the goal, as they say. And be patient enough to wait, because a lot of people end up jumping from one job to another, one relationship to another, one hobby to another, etc., trying to take on so much to cover up for what the big thing that they thought had meaning. Now, I chose this to be our daily starter today because it's a weekend, it's a Friday, and you're going to have a few days to reflect. So bear that in mind, because I would like for all of you out there who need transition to have a great start. And the only way you're going to do it is if you are strong enough to take that first step towards the change. Okay, now let's now go to the front page of the Philippine Star, where they are talking about change. The headline for today, Marcos and IATF tackle optional masking. Okay, that the presumption is we're headed there, that there will be optional masking outdoors, but it's still going to go through the IATF as a procedural requirement. Hopefully, it will reach the point where it will be good for all of us. But nonetheless, Filipinos are smart. Filipinos are very wary of getting sick. So in the end, even if it becomes optional, a lot of us will still be wearing masks. And I do hope you do that, because it's for your safety and protection. Meanwhile, at the top of the front page, the Senate wants former DA and Sugar Regulatory Administration executives charged. Okay, the question is, what will they be charged with? The so alleged smuggled sugar turned out to be legitimate and documented, and the data and statistics are proving that we do have some form of shortage, particularly in the private sector. So a lot of the opinion leaders I've been speaking with are saying, charge with what? Or perhaps we should be charging some senators for disturbing our peace and talking about smuggled sugar when in fact they were not. Anyway, okay, good news for those. If you are one of the 101,889 vehicle owners who were arrested through non-contact apprehension, you will now be allowed to register your vehicle. Because, logic dictates, okay? You have a traffic violation. Then they say you can't register your vehicle. But the law says you're supposed to register your vehicle. So this is one mistake being corrected with another mistake. Okay. And then Philippines asks ICC to deny drug war probe request, because as you may recall, there was a request by an ICC prosecutor that the International Criminal Court conduct a formal investigation and judicial process regarding President Duterte and the Philippines on the conduct of its anti-drug war. Abangan ang susunod na kabanata, the big picture. The front page photo of the Philippine Star is a photo of visitors walking in a fantasy theme park, illuminated forest at a mall in Quezon City. Okay, that's in relation to the proposed mask-free policy. And I suppose that is something that is in preparation for the Christmas holiday, the longest Christmas in the world, okay? Beginning with September. Shoot myself. Okay. Here's a more serious concern. Philippine Airlines traveler positive for monkeypox. 95 passengers have been notified of this discovery. If you were one of those who received a notification from Philippine Airlines, please do not take it for granted. Okay? You do not know your health condition, your resistance levels, etc. So if you took this PAL flight PR300 that left Manila on September 5, okay, then please speak with Philippine Airlines. Okay, and we're down to our last few pieces. Here's an interesting piece of news. Quezon School, a school in Mulanay, Quezon, has used a cockpit. Okay, that is not a high-tech DepEd facility. That is a cockpit. Okay, they only removed the glass barrier that prevents the roosters from jumping into the crowd. But now it is being used as a school to hold classes. Bravo to the cockpit owner. It only proves that us chicken men have a soft heart for the children. Okay. Meralco, meanwhile, has announced that its electricity rates will go up. All of these is expected because of the fuel shortage or high prices of fuel. So please be thankful that you are not in the Western Hemisphere where you cannot do without heating, because at least here the weather is improving. It's getting cooler by the day. So just make the necessary adjustment. And last two pieces of news. The Philippines has been named as Asia's leading dive and beach destination again. So sorry, we beat so many competitors. Again, God has blessed us with such beautiful beaches and dive spots. So Filipinos, be proud, be happy, and go out and dive. And last but not the least, a piece of good news. Tropical storm Inday is unlikely to have direct impact or effects on our weather here in the Philippines. Okay, so again, thank you, Lord, for that. Let's move on. So, sorry. We now move to our interview portion. We have a very interesting guest. I'm sure if you look at her while I'm interviewing her, you will be reminded of that sci-fi movie of an actress in a sci-fi movie. Unfortunately, in my old age, my memory fails me, but it's a sci-fi movie, and it will come to me, or Gab will tell me. But anyway, our guest is is an official of an international organization. Let's do the video now.
Carli Snyman is the Chief of Fundraising and Partnerships at Unicef Philippines. Before working in Manila, Snyman worked at Doctors Without Borders in Brazil and her home country of South Africa.
Okay, Carli, good morning. Welcome to the program.
Magandang umaga, Cito and viewers, and thank you so much for having me on your program today. I'm really excited to be here.
Okay, well, it's not every day I get to interview a good-looking lady from South Africa and a compatriot of is it Theron, the actress as well?
Of course, and a couple of Miss Universes and Miss Worlds. So what can I say?
Okay, well, we're all blessed with different particular gifts. We have the greatest dive spots and beaches in the world. So let's enjoy the blessing. But anyway, Carli, you are with the United Nations children. How do you pronounce the Unicef? Okay, United Nations.
Children Emergency Fund.
Yes. Emergency. That was the one I couldn't figure out, the emergency fund, because many international organizations retain the first few letters, but they changed like an E, environment or emergency, etc. So I'm like, which one is this? The pitfalls of being in media. Anyway, so tell us about your presence in the Philippines. You're from South Africa, and one would think, hey, don't you have enough stuff to do in South Africa? Why do you have to go to Brazil? You're a commerce and marketing graduate, but you ended up working for the organization Doctors Without Borders. Now, and from there you joined UNICEF. Now, how did that come about? Because I'm like wondering, where's the connection here?
No, of course. And thank you. That's a very good question to ask. So just a bit about me. Yes, you are correct. I'm a marketing and e-commerce graduate. So I think let me go back to my beginnings, right? So I'm actually from a small little town in South Africa. I come from humble beginnings. My parents are both teachers. So I think from an early age, I learned that, you need to support and you need to help people where you can. So fast forward a couple of years, I do my, finish my degree, and then I enter the workforce, right? So once I started entering the workforce, I realized that what I really wanted to do and what I am qualified to do are a bit, different. Because you would think marketing, advertising, that's, a specific area to go into. So I then started with Doctors Without Borders. I was one of those people in the shopping center asking for donations. That's how I started with Doctors Without Borders.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yes, and actually, the longer I stayed with the organization, and then obviously other opportunities came up, and I got promoted and things like that. So there's actually a wonderful tie between marketing and fundraising, because at the end of the day, fundraising is sales, if you want to put it that way, right?
Yeah.
You'd be able to get donations from individuals using, marketing channels, pretty much.
There's nothing on the planet that can't survive without marketing. You plant vegetables, you need marketing. You have a media show, a TV show like ours, you need marketing. So,
exactly.
But Carli, I'm just wondering, before we go into the big serious stuff,
yes.
it's a question that very seldom gets asked. You stood in malls and shopping centers, raising funds for Doctors Without Borders. What was that experience like? Because I see a lot of those people representing orphanages, environmental groups standing at malls, and I kind of look at them. It's like, okay, that's a shot in the dark. That's a 1 out of 100 chance that they'll get a good donation today. What was it like for you standing there? So people will at least have an idea what it feels like for people who need to do that.
Well, it's tough, as you said, right? It's really a numbers game. It's a 1 in 100, sometimes even more conversations that you need to have before you actually get a donor. So you have to deal with a lot of rejection. You have to deal with long hours standing. It's over, it's retail hours, so it's long hours. So it's tough. So when you see those people, know that they're on the front line raising funds for the organization that they're raising funds for. So it's always good to keep an ear out, have a listen. But I think what kept me motivated and what keeps individuals like that motivated as well is the fact that they're the connection between the donor and the beneficiary. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be able to get a donation to help the beneficiary. So it's really, they're playing an integral role to fundraise locally and internationally.
Yeah, I have to pick up from there, Carli, because when I see these people, I kind of wonder. It's like, why do they have to be here in the mall asking for donations? I can understand giving out leaflets or information packets so that people can become aware. But when you're trying to solicit or engage people to become donors or make commitments, the disconnect for people is you represent a huge global entity, a big company or whatever, or organization, and that has people in the malls asking for contributions. It's like, do you really need to do that? These are the things that are in the mind of passerbys.
No, of course. And that's a very good question. So I think to explain a bit more. So the thing is, UNICEF doesn't get funding from the United Nations. So we're funded entirely by voluntary contributions of individuals, businesses, foundations, and governments to support programs for children around the world. And we work in over 190 countries. So you can imagine there's a big need. So at the end of the day, our work for children will not be possible without voluntary support. So the people in the malls, that's one of the many facets of fundraising that we have. So we have, the individual giving, and so that's face-to-face. The people in the shopping center, you can donate digitally as well. If you want to have a look, donate.unicef.ph. And also have corporate fundraising, and then major donors, high net worth individuals, foundations, and then legacy fundraising as well.
Okay, now so we go a step higher. So you were with Doctors Without Borders. You were generating funds or collecting donations at the malls, and from there, where did you go?
So yeah, that was my first job when I started with Doctors Without Borders. It feels like a million years ago already. So then I worked in the office as donor retention, so working with donors directly. And then from there onwards, I became the acquisition head. So that is focusing on different programs. So it's all the individual giving, so digital and face-to-face and DRTV, so that's just direct response television. And then I also actually worked in our Brazil office, the Doctors Without Borders Brazil office, for a couple of months as well. It was a learning experience, and I was primarily there to cover for somebody that went on maternity leave. But it was an amazing experience working with a new team as well.
They call that divine intervention.
Exactly.
Okay, let her go have her baby. Bring in Carli. Okay, set her up.
Perfect. Yeah, and then from the Brazil, I came back to South Africa for a couple more years, and then I wanted to really, I wanted to move international and join the UN. That was always been a part of the plan when I started working, or when I was, still studying. That was something that was at the back of my mind. I would really like to work for the UN because it's such an amazing, so many different agencies. It's been around for such a long time, 75 years for UNICEF. So that's when I applied, and then divine intervention again. I got the position here in the Philippines. So, and I've been here for November, it'll be 3 years.
Okay. Now, I know that you have a heart for children. Your parents were teachers, and you've proven yourself working with other organizations. But was that really just the reason you came to the Philippines? Or is it because you caught wind that we have some of the best dive spots and beautiful beaches?
Well, guilty as charged. That might have been one of the reasons. I'm not going to divulge too much, but I am a diver. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So I really, agree 110% that Philippines is one of the best diving spots, some of the best diving spots in the world, and the beaches, obviously.
Yeah, because as I told you before the interview that my wife is from the Netherlands, and she came for a 2-year job and stayed for the last 33 years, if I'm not mistaken. And I have friends who came for expat jobs and made the mistake of going diving and going to the beach and never left. Okay, but in all seriousness, Carli, okay, so you get yourself to the Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us wonder because the impression we have of UNICEF, as you use the word United Nations Children's Emergency Fund, it connotes or gives you the reputation that you are sent to places that have major disasters, that have starvation situations, severe droughts, conflict, etc. And people are wondering why the Philippines. We're okay. We take care of our own. We still manage to feed. Okay, we got we got 1 million or 2 who are starving or go without food every now and then. But it's not an emergency. So could you explain why the UNICEF has a presence in the Philippines and represented by individuals such as yourself?
All right, no, for sure. And I think that's the beauty of the UN agencies. We're in over 190 countries within the world. And actually UNICEF, I think next year, UNICEF has been around for 75 years, but next year in the Philippines, we would have been here for 75 years in the Philippines. So the thing is, it's a wide variety of areas that UNICEF works in. So the thing is, UNICEF ensures that the world's children are vaccinated, educated, and protected. And we work, as you rightfully said, in the world's toughest places, but with some disadvantaged children and adolescents. But it's not necessarily just in emergency situations. It was UNICEF Children or the UN Children Emergency Fund back when it was started, but throughout the years it changed just to the United Nations Children's Fund to kind of encapsulate, not just emergencies, but everything else. So there's a couple of reasons why UNICEF is present in the Philippines. So, but I think that'll take us like another 2 hours to discuss. So I think I'll just go through some of the highlights or some of the main areas. So nutrition is one of them as well. So 1/3 of children in the Philippines are stunted, so short for their age as a result of malnutrition during the first 1,000 days of life. And there's also an increasing number of overweight and obese children. Then there's also
I don't want to be gross.
Things like that.
I don't want to be gross, Carli. Okay, but I think you are making a very good point there, because here in the Philippines we make fun of things and we say, he belongs to Barangay 411. Meaning, he's short and he belongs with that group who are 4'11" and below. I actually make a joke of that with my youngest sister. But you bring home a key point that, as you said, 30% suffer from growth retardation, delay, or are stunted. So that's a key thing. We say in the Philippines, bansot, short of height. Stunted growth. So thank you for reminding us that we have that problem of malnutrition and stunted growth.
So yeah, that's one of the reasons that UNICEF is here, to help with severely malnourished children, and also moderate malnourished. And then there's a lot of different other things. So child protection. So focusing on areas, currently children experience high levels of violence, including places where they ought to feel safe. So this is online sexual exploitation of children. Then there's also WASH, so providing some, WASH
conflict.
Yes, so WASH is water sanitation facilities. So that's always, there's some areas that, where it's a bit slower to progress to eliminate open defecation and achieve universal access to basic sanitation.
Mm-hmm. Well, also because you mentioned, immunization. I remember there was a time when you even had a program for deworming children globally. So
exactly.
And polio, etc. Okay, so we'll go for a quick break, Carli, and then when we return, let's get on with the serious talk about your job and how you find yourself in the country, and how responsive are Filipinos to when UNICEF representations or officials reach out like you. Okay, we'll go for a quick break. We'll be right back here on Agenda. Okay, welcome back to the program Agenda. I'm your host, Cito Beltran, and with us this morning is the representative from UNICEF, Carli Snyman, and we are talking about what the UNICEF is doing in the Philippines and how we can help the UNICEF. The Filipinos have this cultural character where we always express appreciation. We recognize utang na loob, we have gratitude. And ladies and gentlemen, perhaps this is one way of showing that by expressing our gratitude to those people in the malls or to the UNICEF office itself, who in turn are taking care of the less noticed children, or children who are in far-flung places. And as Carli pointed out earlier, that they are suffering stunting, nababansot po mga kaibigan, and also they are on the ground. Carli, if I remember correctly, UNICEF also gets involved during typhoons, etc., correct?
Yes, we do get involved with typhoons, and it's actually, I actually visited some of the areas earlier in the year. So I don't know if you want to hear that story. I can quickly go into that.
Just a quick pass through on that one.
Of course. So I traveled to Southern Leica 2 months after 2 months after our date. So that was in February this year. So we were with our nutrition and education specialists, and we visited some of the areas, including Maasin City, Limasawa Island, and Bontoc. So basically the objective of the trip was to meet with local community and partners on the ground to understand what extra support is needed, as well as distribute supplies. So we actually visited Limasawa Island, and that was a very an eye-opening experience for me, especially as a donor, because I'm a donor myself. We visited a school there, San Bernardo Primary School, and we made up with some grade 1 and grade 2 learners. It was very nice to see these young kids. And we were actually there on that day to distribute some learning kits to the students. So these include, things like exercise books and writing supplies. Luckily, that school on San Bernardo Primary School wasn't as badly damaged, but, there were looking at the aftermath of Typhoon Odette. There was over 6,000 classrooms that were severely damaged, and estimated that over 12 million tons of learning materials were destroyed. And, in the areas that were affected by the typhoon. But, UNICEF has been on the ground. We've been, supporting various areas. As I said, it's not, just one specific thing. It's health, it's WASH, it's education. So we've been helping with, providing access to primary health care for over, I think, 130,000 individuals, mothers and children. There's also over 200,000 people that, benefited from emergency, water, sanitation, hygiene infrastructure. And then also, we helped over 90,000 children benefit from, continual learning. So providing, temporary learning spaces in some schools that were severely affected so that learning can continue.
Okay, now, given that that's just a drop in the bucket
Exactly.
of our local problem, and while you were speaking, it kind of, my mind went on a rewind, and I realized there are now wars, there are droughts, there are conflicts all over the world, and a lot of the member nations of the UN or supporters of the UNICEF are themselves struggling. So ultimately, I think there is now a trend where the focus is support ourselves or help ourselves. Now, here in the Philippines, how do Filipinos help out in this kind of situation where the UNICEF is involved? Because I know a lot, if one thing that the pandemic did, Carli, it made people rethink their priorities. I have rich friends, millionaire friends who are kind of going, Cito, what can I do? Where can I help? Because, my life is meaningless. COVID showed me all of that. And I said, do you have a week? but Carli, you're with UNICEF. If someone has a heart for children, someone has always believed in UNICEF, because you guys, the institution has been consistent since I was a school kid up to now. I look up to UNICEF as an institution with integrity and long-term commitment. Now, if any of our viewers wanted to help, what are real ways they can get involved in, aside from, giving a few pesos or 1,000 at the malls to those people collecting donations?
Okay. Well, thanks for that question. And I think a lot of Filipinos are very giving. That's also something that I experienced when I arrived here. And there's a lot of similarities in some belief systems. So similar to in South Africa, where we call it Ubuntu. So I am because you are. So it's very community based. And I think there's a lot of that here locally in the Philippines as well. So actually the best way for people to get involved, because we have specialists that are working on the ground with our implementing partners. It's not necessarily a volunteering organization. So the best way to actually become a part is by donating and also by advocating. So, and you don't have to be a millionaire, right, to give a lot of money. Every cent helps. So you can become a regular donor. So this helps us sustain programs for children's health and well-being. If you want to have a look at our website, donate.unicef.ph, to learn some more. You'll be finding some information there as well. And then also, if you're, you have a company, whether big or small, you can donate to us through regular or seasonal giving. So this year we have a program where companies can gift special edition Christmas cards as a donation on behalf of employees or corporate partners. Then we also have, and this is relatively new to the region, it's more popular, or it's been around for a bit longer in other countries, legacy giving. So you can leave a gift in your will for UNICEF, and then that your legacy will live on through that gift. And so if but let's say, not everybody might be in the position to give at this present time for a multitude of reasons. You can also advocate. So continue to speak up for children's rights, learning about children's rights and sharing it with people around you, listening to children in your family and recognizing their right as members of society.
Carli, sorry, I just saw the video and I couldn't help noticing the video said helping UNICEF or something like that. I've got such a poor eyesight from here. But, it mentioned something about last will.
Yes.
Okay, can you talk? Because, it's not something that's commonly talked about, but people have been thinking about last wills because of what happened in the pandemic. Now, what's this? People can make donations toward disadvantaged children as part of their last will and testament. How does that work out?
All right. So it's actually relatively easy, right? So let's say you already have a will and testament, or you're in the process of writing one. And you may want to let's say you may want to consider leaving a legacy by donating to Filipino children through UNICEF. So you can amend your will and indicate the specific asset, amount or percentage that you would like to donate. And I think the best place for people to get some information for this is you can actually just Google UNICEF gifts and wills, or if people have their pens ready, visit giftsinwills.unicef.ph, or people can also call a number 0284626246. So if you want to learn more about that.
Okay. Now, how does someone ensure? Because there are people like me who are not very techy, etc. Do you have something more tactile, more physical, or like, hey, do you guys have some sort of certificate or something that I can just pay for? Here, I move on or something. Because the reality, the fact of helping and donations, there's a emotional thing, and people are afraid of, being, oh, can you do it again? Can you do it again, etc. And people start calling you. It's like, hey guys, I already gave it to office.
Mm. Well, I think to answer the first part of your question regarding, if you're not a very techie person, that's, you can actually just give the cell phone number a call, the zero, or not the cell phone number, just the contact number, 0284626246. Or just go to giftsinwills.unicef.ph. We have a free brochure that you can download. So all the information will be there. And, you can speak to some of our telemarketing agents, and I think we can also actually send you the actual brochure that you can, have a read through. And
how about companies, Carli? Because looking at you here and the way listening to you, I'm sure that if you walked into an office or to an organization, people will be willing to listen. And do you arrange for like company visits and presentations? Because nothing beats face to face, as you pointed out, with those people who stand at malls and talking about the organization or the projects.
No, of course. As I said earlier, we have, different channels. So face-to-face is one part. We have corporate, we have the high net worth individuals and foundations. But corporate partners play a critical role in helping UNICEF promote and protect children's rights. So we work very closely with multinational corporations, local companies, and small to medium-sized businesses to identify, design, and implement alliances that leverage the strength of the corporate sector on behalf of children. So, just some examples.
Yes, please.
So we actually work with Metro Pacific Tollways Corporation, so MPTC. So recently they signed a 3-year agreement with the Child's Rights Agency to help support 100 schools in high-risk areas. So, potentially reaching 20,000 children. So it's MPTC, including its subsidiaries, will support UNICEF's work over the next 2 years to scale up models for improved road safety and safe journeys for school children in high-risk areas. Focusing on road safety awareness, health system strengthening, planning, and enhance children's rights principles and business practices. And then also another example is Cebu Pacific. I'm sure a lot of people traveling on Cebu has, played the games, and then there's always a call to action to give your change.
Oh, yeah. I've been on several flights where the flight attendant would go and then collect if you have coins, etc. And I'm like, coins? Here's a few bills. It's like, no, because we Filipinos, we're a prideful lot, and it's like coins my foot. We're not poor, so they start giving, and yeah, but that works.
Exactly. So, well, obviously, coins are welcome, as well as money that can fold. So please support, us through that. So, since 2016, we've worked with Cebu Pacific, and we launched the Change for Good campaign. That's what it's called. So it's enabling, passengers to donate their spare change in flight. And this supports some of our programs locally as well. And then also what we have currently is a Christmas card campaign. So instead of giving, Christmas gifts, so you can, donate an amount, and you get Christmas cards that you can hand out to your employees, suppliers, and things like that as well.
Do you have anything? Sorry, I'm just giving you an idea. Perhaps, I hope. Do you have anything hooked up with Lazada and Shopee where we can buy your Christmas cards and the money goes to you?
Well, that's one of the things that we have in store, right? So basically, maybe I can give a quick overview of the Christmas card campaign. So
go ahead, please.
Yeah, so we have the corporate gifts. So that is early bird currently. So you can only buy in bulk. And we're launching the individual, people buying it individually in October. So basically donors can enjoy a limited, edition holiday cards featuring national artist and master cartoonist Larry Alcala. So showcasing Alcala's iconic work from his slice of life cartoons. We're also focusing on, remembering the joy of Paskong Pinoy. It's a limited edition set of cards that embodies the spirit of generosity and community that is the hallmark of Filipino culture. So, as you said, this Christmas starts in September already. So I'm banking on that. And then, so basically, this is a continuation of our campaign we had last year. So we worked with Robert Alejandro, the artist, and we raised around 8.4 million pesos for children in the Philippines. And most of them, the money went to help, the children affected by Typhoon Odette. So,
well, that it's good that you mentioned that, Carli, because I guess it's a misconception as well that when you donate to UNICEF, the money is siphoned out and sent to wherever, to some head office or to another country. But you just said, and I hope I heard it correctly, that when you raised 8 million, it's for children in the Philippines.
It's for children in the Philippines. So all the money that we raise in the Philippines stays in the Philippines. So it's a bit different with corporate and legacy because it's like 100% that you donate. But for every, so let's say for every one, for every 70 centile, or for, oh my gosh, sorry, my brain is too early in the morning.
You know what? I'll ask you to, we'll take a break so you can get your numbers and don't be embarrassed because you're talking to the guy who took Math 11 7 times. I'm such a genius. I now have a master's degree in Math 11. But we'll go for a quick break. And when we return, let's talk more about all of this stuff that UNICEF does for children all over the world, but also in the Philippines. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back to the program agenda. I'm your host, Cito Beltran. And for those of you who are catching up with the program or came in late, our guest for today is Carli Snyman, Chief of Fundraising and Partnerships, UNICEF Philippines. And just a quick review, Carli, the UNICEF in the Philippines, or UNICEF as a whole, is not just involved in disasters or wars, conflicts, or plagues, but have continuing programs on the ground in every member country. And in the Philippines, you are engaged in immunization programs, children's welfare, education assistance programs, and feeding programs, and of course, responding also in the aftermath of earthquakes and typhoons. And you work with government, non-government organizations in cooperation. You work with donor, partner, private companies, and like our group, the MVP group, and with Cebu Pacific. And you continue to also encourage involvement by individuals. A quick question. What about school children? Because one thing I've learned through the years is that when children get involved or witness the reality of other children like them, they're more passionate and they don't give their parents a night of sleep.
Well, children are the future, right? And I really do think that it's very important to encourage, children to help from a young age, and to also learn empathy and understand that, there's a whole wide world out there. So I think the best way that, children can help us is, to also, raise funds, but also understand that children have rights in society, and they are aware of those rights. And
do you, as the as a representative of the UNICEF, do you and your associates conduct school visits, school presentations? Because I remember when I was a young kid, UNICEF was part of my education. It was an annual engagement. We would always be reminded that there is UNICEF and what UNICEF was doing when we were much younger. I don't know what it's like now, especially with face-to-face classes only starting.
Yes, no, I think with the school reopening is, it's a bit of a tricky situation currently. And I'm not 100% sure when is the last time, that actually took place in schools. But kind of focusing on education, it's estimated that 9 out of 10 children in the Philippines, cannot read and understand a simple story by age 10. So, and as you said, right, the Philippines had one of the longest shutdowns of schools globally. So recovering lost learning requires a sustained and whole society approach. So, experience from schools and early learning centers that piloted in-person classes reveal that parents, local officials, and the business sector and community members played a crucial role in ensuring that learning continues. So, UNICEF obviously supports the safe reopening of all schools and early learning centers in the Philippines.
You have a rapid program that you're trying to promote?
Yes, so, we're providing technical assistance through guidelines and standard operating procedures. We're supporting the education ministry, orienting local governments in reopening preschools, and providing schools with wash facilities and cleaning and disinfecting kits, and conducting rapid literacy assessments and learning recovery programs. So, yeah, that's what we're focusing on in education. But I think to go back to your question regarding, involving children, it starts from a young age. So, by providing children with learning opportunities to have these experiences and learn is really important for us.
Okay, we're down to about our last 2-3 minutes. I just want to give it all to you, Carli, because you guys do so much work. People don't fully understand what UNICEF is all about and the great job that you and your associates are doing. Now, we did talk about the encouraging people, especially those who have so much in life but don't have children. I have friends who opted not to get married, not have children, but it's like, okay, kiddo, what are you going to do with all that money? Are you going to leave it with me? Can we just reiterate that on how people can help UNICEF to help Filipinos? And ladies and gentlemen, I just want to repeat what Carli said. Whatever is donated, given, or collected in the Philippines by UNICEF for UNICEF stays in the Philippines and is spent on Filipino children. Carli, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Cito. And thank you to all the viewers today for listening to what's happening within UNICEF and some of the projects that we're working on currently. So I would really like to ask people continue supporting UNICEF and the work that we do for children. And it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be a millionaire, although that helps. But really, like, every cent goes a long way. So if you would like to donate, please visit our website at donate.unicef.ph. If you would like to leave a gift in your will, please contact us as well. You can Google UNICEF Gifts and Wills or go to the website giftsinwills.unicef.ph and give us a call 0284626246. And if you're an individual, if you're a corporate, if you're a foundation, if you want to get involved, if you just want to buy some Christmas cards, please do reach out and support UNICEF, because it's not about UNICEF, it's helping Filipino children each and every day. Thank you.
Okay, Carli. Well, we look forward to seeing those Christmas cards. And once you've got them all lined up, let's do a short program and let's flash all of those Christmas cards because, hey, I love Larry Alcala, and you can throw in all the other artists who have been supporting. Maybe, hey, you know, that's an idea, Carli. Maybe we can do Filipino artists supporting UNICEF. And I think we can at least do culture and compassion here on Agenda, right?
Great. Cito, don't you want to come work for UNICEF? You have such great ideas.
Okay, well, just give me a ring, you know. We're always ready to help, and we always have space here on Agenda, God willing. Thank you very much, Carli, and more power to you, to your organization. And when you do the dive, bring a buddy and stay safe.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, that's Carli Snyman, Chief of Fundraising Partnerships, UNICEF Philippines. For those of you who have been searching for meaning, purpose, destiny in life, did you ever think about that? That your meaning, purpose, or destiny in life may be for the children in the Philippines who need help. And there is this foreign organization that's already on the ground helping them. What about you? Okay, let's go now for our final blessing for this week. And as I said, it comes from the book of 1 Chronicles, chapter 4, verses 9 to 10. Jabez was more honorable than his brothers. His mother named him Jabez and said, I gave birth to him in pain. Okay? Now, Jabez called out to God, out to the God of Israel, if only you would bless me and keep me from harm, so that I will not cause any pain. And God granted this request. If while you are watching Agenda today, and you can say to yourself, I have been blessed. I am not experiencing pain. Consider, perhaps you can also be a blessing and lessen the pain of others, especially the children. Go and help Unicef because they're helping us. Thank you very much. I'm Cito Beltran, hoping to see you again next week. God bless all of you. And remember, it's a weekend. Weekend is for rest. Okay? God bless. Keep it here on One News PH.